History tonight in Arlington. A year after it hosted all 6 games of the World Series, Globe Life Field transforms and hosts its first football game between 2 titans of Texas high school football. Cedar Hill and Duncanville make history as the first football teams to step foot on the turf at the Texas Rangers' gleaming new ballpark. Next on Friday Night Football. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Arlington. Globe Life Field, the site tonight. Globe Life Park across the street has hosted many football games, also many baseball games, now Choctaw Stadium. But Globe Life Field here across the street, the brand new home of the Texas Rangers, tonight hosts its first football game, Julius Lewis. This is a special night for these 2 programs. It's a special night for Texas high school football at large.
It is. It's a beautiful stadium, beautiful field. It's a beautiful night out here. I'm excited for some football tonight.
This is a dry run of sorts for the Commanders Classic, which will be here 15 days from now. Air Force and Army will go head-to-head, one of the 3 games that decides the Commander-in-Chief trophy every year. They wanted to do a test run and try all of this out a couple weeks in advance. They called Cedar Hill and Duncanville and said, hey, we'd like you two to be the 2 teams that open it up here at Globe Life Field, and that brings us here tonight. This is a game that matters, too, on the football field. Take a look at the district standings in 11-6A. Duncanville there at the top, 4-0 in district play. Cedar Hill and DeSoto both 3-1 in district play. For Duncanville, Julius, a win tonight, for all intents and purposes, locks up a district championship.
Yeah, that's what their focus is on tonight. They know if they win tonight, there's no chance of them. Well, there's a little chance, but there's little chance of them losing that title.
Meanwhile, for Cedar Hill, if they can figure out a way to get a win tonight, that would then create a 3-way tie atop the district standings with DeSoto and Duncanville. There's a lot on the line in this football game, and Cedar Hill needs to kind of bounce back after a tough loss last week against DeSoto.
Yeah, we saw what happened to them last week. They win tonight. It definitely plays a role in the seeding going into the playoffs.
All right, so let's get to our players to watch for tonight's football game. First for the Cedar Hill Longhorns, their quarterback, Cedric Harden Jr., and this kid is basically everything for the Longhorns offense.
Yeah, everything runs through him, passes through him. They need him to get him going tonight in the run game. He's really special when he has the ball in his hands. And
that was one thing we talked with Carlos Lynn, their head coach, earlier this week. He said we also need him to get rolling in the passing game as well. They know they are primarily a running first football team, and their opponents know that as well. So you're going to see Duncanville stack the box tonight. Cedric Harden needs to be able to connect on some passes down the field, at least have success in the passing game to open things up in that box. In that box for Duncanville is our player to watch for the Panthers tonight, Amari Abor, their stud defensive end, 5-star prospect. This kid is everything you could want out of a football player.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play tonight. We didn't get to watch him last time we hosted Duncanville, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do tonight. I know he's ready for a big game.
The top 5 schools he's considering, get this list: Alabama, LSU, Texas, Texas A&M, and Ohio State. Yes, this kid is that good. 162 times Globe Life Field has played host to a baseball game. Tonight, the first football game in this building's history. Duncanville and Cedar Hill. Kickoff is next on Friday Night Football.
How in the world? On 4th and less than a yard. The 5, touchdown. What a catch. Nice cut on field. To Pater. What's better than Texas high school football, man?
Next up, a test for a top 10 team as Allen visits Prosper. Next Friday at 7 on the WFAA YouTube channel.
We are not here to fit into a mold. We are here to celebrate and learn from the unexpected, diverse, and beautiful gente, the fuerte, the strong, the ones risking it all para la familia, para la oportunidad, for the lovers of dance, of food, of music. Que viva! We're here to grow together. We are here to thrive juntos, celebrating our lives every day. La vida.
Our stories are everything. We tell them to help us understand who we are and where we're going from here. That's why we're sharing even more WFAA original stories, where the seeds of healing are sown by those who have reaped so much pain. Stories where ancient rhythms can speak so much louder than words, and a 50-year march for equality can become a national reality, one bold step at a time. WFAA Originals. Story is everything. Weeknights at 10.
Misinformation, fabrication, and falsehoods. Fake news is on the rise, and it's coming from all sides. On WFAA News at 10, we're separating the fiction from the facts with our series, Verify. You ask the question. Our team verifies the answer. We find sources and get explanations. Have something you want verified? Find us online or email verify@WFAA.com. Watch weeknights at 10 on WFAA.
The news can bring you down. That's why on Daybreak we balance that with I Am Up.
Up on all the latest around town, sure, but also celebrity gossip, sports, and...
Well, you've got to be up on the weather before you head out the door. And don't forget the...
Traffic. We're up in all the hot spots. Plus, we are giving you plenty of reasons to smile.
Because we are up with Daybreak.
What about you?
When severe weather's in the forecast, a process begins, and it's a process that includes not only the weather team, it includes the entire news department. Where is it going to happen? How severe is it going to be? What type of bad weather are we expecting? Once we have that in place, then everyone's assigned a job. The story that we tell is a story that is going to allow you to absorb it, for you to understand it, and for you to be able to take that information and keep you and your family safe.
How in the world? On 4th and less than a yard. The 5, touchdown. What a catch. Nice cut upfield. To Pater.
What's better than Texas high school football? Next up, a test for a top 10 team as Allen visits Prosper. Next Friday at 7 on the WFAA YouTube channel.
We are not here to fit into a mold. We are here to celebrate and learn from the unexpected, diverse, and beautiful gente. The fuerte, the strong, the ones risking it all para la familia, para la oportunidad, for the lovers of dance, of food, of music. Que viva! We are here to grow together. We are here to thrive juntos, celebrating our lives every day. La vida.
Our stories are everything. We tell them to help us understand who we are and where we're going from here. That's why we're sharing even more WFAA original stories, where the seeds of healing are sown by those who have reaped so much pain. Stories where ancient rhythms can speak so much louder than words, and a 50-year march for equality can become a national reality, one bold step at a time. WFAA Originals. Story is everything. Weeknights at 10.
Misinformation, fabrication, and falsehoods. Fake news is on the rise, and it's coming from all sides. On WFAA News at 10, we're separating the fiction from the facts with our series, Verify. You ask the question. Our team verifies the answer. We find sources and get explanations. Have something you want verified? Find us online or email verify@WFAA.com. Watch weeknights at 10 on WFAA.
The news can bring you down. That's why on Daybreak we balance that with I Am Up.
Up on all the latest around town, sure, but also celebrity gossip, sports, and...
Well, you've got to be up on the weather before you head out the door. And don't forget the...
traffic. We're up in all the hot spots. Plus, we are giving you plenty of reasons to smile.
Because we are up with daybreak.
What about you?
As we welcome you live inside Globe Life Field in Arlington, WFAA proudly presents Friday Night Football live on the WFAA Digital Network as Cedar Hill and Duncanville are about to get underway. Duncanville head coach Reginald Samples in his 7th year with the Panthers, 32 years overall, just hit 300 wins in his career earlier this year here on Friday Night Football, and that man right there, Carlos Lynn, the 5th-year head coach of the Cedar Hill Longhorns, took him to the state championship game a year ago in 6A Division II. Duncanville won the toss and will receive to open up this football game. So we get to see Malachi Medlock and the Panthers offense first, Julius Lewis. This is the matchup that I think is the better of the two, offense versus defense. Duncanville's offense, very good at running the football. Cedar Hill has a good defense.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Duncanville's offense comes out with tonight. We saw them a few weeks ago. The offense came out a little shaky, but I just want to see how they progress from the last couple weeks.
So Cedar Hill set to kick it away. Sean Sipes, their kickoff man, and deep to return for the Duncanville Panthers, Demarion Coleman. Also deep for Duncanville is Davion Blewett. As we are just about to get underway in the first football game in the history of Globe Life Field, Cedar Hill and Duncanville on Friday Night Football. And it is a popped-up kick fielded at the 28-yard line and hit immediately for Duncanville is Caleb Kenny, one of the upbacks. And we are underway here in Arlington. Out comes Solomon James, number 3 there in the middle of your screen, the starting quarterback for the Duncanville Panthers. Malachi Medlock, their starting running back. That tandem is pretty dangerous, especially Medlock, a 3-star prospect, just committed to Toledo back on October the 11th. And we saw him against DeSoto earlier this season, gash the Eagles in the run game. Also had a huge game a year ago when these two teams played in the district championship game. He can do some things, Julius.
Yeah, they can. There's a lot of guys on this field who can do some things. And then I just want to see them get the ball in space, see what they can do out here tonight.
Duncanville will open up in shotgun. Medlock to the right of James and 3 wide receivers to the right. And the handoff goes to Medlock off left tackle. And he's to the outside already. And a first down on the very first play of the football game for Duncanville.
Yeah, Duncanville's going to be run heavy tonight. You said earlier they want to slow the pace down a little bit. Both teams really want to slow the pace down a little bit, let their offense settle into the game, and not make any stupid mistakes or penalties.
Cedar Hill especially wants to slow this game down a little bit, try and keep that Duncanville offense off the field. Nearly an interception right there. That ball thrown almost directly at Donovan Hubbard. Little extracurriculars after the play as a Duncanville offensive lineman was tangled up there in the middle. That was Josiah Drake. No flags, and it'll be 2nd down and 10, but that was very nearly a chance there for Hubbard.
Yeah, it was. Just a little miscommunication. Looked like all 3 receivers were supposed to sit down right there, and one broke to the out, brought the defender right to the ball.
2nd down, it should be 3rd down and 10. The in-house scoreboard for some reason read 2nd down and 23. That certainly wasn't correct. Now reads 3rd and 23. They're having some issues here with the in-house scoreboard that feeds our scoreboard.
It's a trial run.
It will be 3rd down and 3. We'll just drop the 20 off there.
Yeah.
This is, as we mentioned, the first football game here at Globe Life Field. And as a result, they are working out the kinks. Still a little bit. 3rd and 31, it says on the in-house board. Medlock, it's actually 3rd and 3, gets the carry, and he gets stood up. And he'll be taken down short of the line to gain. About 2 yards shy, and it's 4th down for Duncanville.
First big decision right here for the Duncanville staff. Looks like they're going to go for it, which I don't blame them.
Offense is staying on the football field.
4th and a full 2 yards. Ball sits at the 46, have to get to the 44 for a first down. Tight set here from Duncanville. We saw Cedar Hill last week against DeSoto come up with 2 big 4th down stops. Can they do it again here? Motion man, little toss here, coming near side. First down and then some, as leaping over top is Lontrell Turner. And it's first down, Duncanville.
That was a nice play design right there. Duncanville had numbers on the outside. Number 3, Donovan Hubbard's got to step up, though, and set the edge right there so the play doesn't stretch out that wide.
Instead, into Cedar Hill territory, a bit deeper goes Duncanville. 1st and 10 at the 39 for the Panthers.
It was a gutsy call early, but it's a big game for them. They want to lock up the district championship. You got to make gutsy calls.
Duncanville has 2 games left after this, but against 2 teams that, frankly, they should beat. A win tonight all but locks up a district championship. And here goes Malachi Medlock up the near sideline. Good blocking on the edge, but a flag gets thrown at the end there. It's going to go against Jarrell Powers for holding. He was free into the end zone. They really didn't need to hold. He was going to score, and the flag's going to bring 6 points off the board here.
I don't know about that one, Mike. It's a little bit of an acting job, but there's 2 other flags out there, too.
Yeah, 3 different flags on the field, so a lot to sort out here for Grady Dale and his officiating crew.
These guys are dual sport athletes, and acting is another sport, so. You can't get off the block, you got to do something.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, it worked.
We'll see.
Ooh, it's big.
So if you couldn't hear that from Grady Dale, 2 huge penalties will both go against Duncanville. The hold that pulls 6 points off the board, and then a personal foul against Lontrell Turner after the play. So both get enforced. That's going to be 25 yards worth of penalties, and the ball's going to come all the way back to the 36-yard line. And it will be 1st and 10 for Duncanville, but it's almost like that play never happened.
Yeah, on the bright side, it is first down for them.
That helps.
But that's
about the only good news you got.
Exactly. That's the only good news in that whole scenario.
So 1st and 10 from the 36. Pre-snap motion, and now Solomon James going to keep it himself with a lead blocker out in front. That's Caden Durham. He's got the edge. First down, Solomon James.
Yeah, that's the second time they come back to that formation. They're really seeing something they like on the outside right now. Looks like they're trying to force Cedar Hill's corners to step up and make a play. And right now they haven't, so I expect them to come back to that one again.
Running at Jalen Peoples, the 3-star prospect. But able to get the edge, and it's 1st and 10 once again for Duncanville, now to the 24-yard line. Caleb Kenny, a late addition to the formation here.
Same set.
Vincent steps forward. Hicks, now the handoff. Spinning off a tackler is Caden Durham, and he'll fight his way inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, I like what they did there. They came back to that same look. They got that long run, or that 4th down conversion on, and went the opposite way with it. Just a lot of eye candy right now.
The 4th down play where they converted was technically a pass because it was a forward pass of the football, only just barely. But for all intents and purposes, we've seen this entire drive happen on the ground for Duncanville.
Yeah. We saw what happened with the one pass. It was nearly intercepted. So when that happens, let's get back to the run.
Durham fell down a little. Like he and James had a little miscommunication there as to who was supposed to keep that football. And that sets up 3rd and 5 here. It almost looked like James tripped him.
Looked like he missed a face mask right there. It did look like he tripped him too.
So 3rd down once again here for Duncanville. Have to get to the 16 for a first down. Pump fake, looking over the middle, wide open end zone, and he missed both wide open men. Jarrell Powers was open, Chris Hicks was open, both of them 2 to 3 yards behind the defense, Julius Lewis, and just a bit too far for both of them. It's like he split the difference.
Somebody's got to go get that ball. Right in between Jarrell Powers, he had a chance. I feel like he could have made a play on that ball right there. He probably
maybe he thought it was for Hicks.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm going to get it. He probably didn't see the ball because he still had his hand in the air.
So that sets up 4th and 5 here. And now a timeout called by Reginald Samples, and he is frustrated as he walks to the numbers on the football field talking with Solomon James. As we welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at Globe Life Field, Mike Leslie and Julius Lewis here with you for a really special night for Texas high school football. First game ever played at this venue, and an opportunity for these two programs to kind of stamp themselves as part of that history. This is a special night all around.
Yeah, these are powerhouses in Texas. To have their names in the history books is really good for their programs.
What do you think of what we've seen so far? I mean, it's all been Duncanville on the offensive side of the ball as they start to break out of this timeout, but Cedar Hill's defense has had some moments. They need to come up with a stop, though, here on 4th and 5 if Duncanville indeed decides to go for it.
Cedar Hill needs to really protect the edges right now. That's where a lot of Duncanville's players are coming from.
And sure enough, they are going to kick the field goal as you and I turn around and get a chance to see the field once again. They will settle for the field goal, so Armando Benitez, who has range out to about 40, this will be a 36-yarder from just inside that left hash. Snap is good, hold is down, and the kick is through. So an opening field goal drive for the Duncanville Panthers finished off with a 36-yarder from Benitez, and it's a 3-0 Panthers lead.
Overall, it was a solid drive by Duncanville. Just 2 plays that cost them points. Two penalties.
Big penalties.
Yeah, 2 big penalties and the miscommunication on that pump and go in the end zone.
$8:51 to play here in the opening quarter. In the first ever football game at Globe Life Field. Globe Life Park, what is now referred to as Choctaw Stadium across the street. The old Panthers ballpark, the old Rangers ballpark, has hosted many a football game, was transformed into a football venue specifically for the XFL, which unfortunately didn't last very long. But they've made it into a high school football venue. They've played college football games there as well. Now the Rangers turning their current football stadium, baseball stadium into a football venue for this game and then for the Commanders Classic 2 weeks from tomorrow here on this field. Benitez set to kick it away. Deep kick up the far sideline, fielded on the run. Cutting back inside the 20 and taken down at the 23-yard line is Keelan Mims. And that's where the Cedar Hill offense will get to work. Cedric Harden, their starting quarterback. And really, as we touched on off the top of the broadcast, Julius Lewis, he's their offense. Yeah, he is everything that they do.
Everything goes through him. Last week, they really couldn't get much going at all. So I want to see how they change up the offensive scheme tonight. If they're going to get more guys involved, they're going to take some pressure off of him.
Starts 1st and 10 at the 22 is where they marked Mims down. And Harden will be in shotgun. 3 wides to the near side. They do feel like they need to get things going in their passing game too in order to unlock things for their offense. And in fact, it's Anthony Edwards to start at quarterback. That's a bit of a surprise. Edwards, number 43, in there for the first play at quarterback.
Like I said, mix up the offensive scheme, change the look.
But that's a real big mix-up.
It is.
Cedric Harden on the near sideline, standing at the 21.
Helmet off, too.
Helmet off, not starting this football game. So perhaps that's part of the changes for Carlos Lynn. That's a big surprise, though, because he's been their best player all year. 13 rushing touchdowns, but not on the field to start this football game. 2nd down and 8. And again, 3 wides to the near side, and they'll go to the air once again. Good pass on the far side, complete, 1st down and then some. Still on his feet, outside the 40-yard line, and a very nice play for Jarris Nicholson.
It was a great run after catch right there. It was a timing route. Ball came out on time, perfect timing. Was able to make a few guys miss and gain extra yards.
The first thing I can think as it relates to this quarterback change that we're seeing right now, and we'll see whether or not it's a permanent quarterback change or if this is perhaps a schematic thing just off the top of the football game, but Cedar Carden, as fantastic an athlete as he is and as big a threat as he is in the run game, he has struggled throwing the football this year. Perhaps they think that Edwards is the better thrower of the football, and that's going to help unlock things, and we've seen that now on that first down hookup to Nicholson.
I think we're about to see it right now. I thought we were going to see it right now. They came out an empty set. You're usually going to quarterback draw or some quick passes out of it, so.
Instead, timeout called by Carlos Lynn. Kyle Morales, their offensive coordinator, trying to get things situated here on the opening drive of the football game for the Cedar Hill Longhorns. This is a difficult spot, though, for a kid in Anthony Edwards that's kind of being thrust into this moment. Now, obviously, he knew about it, I'm sure, long before we knew about it. I don't think he found out about it at the opening snap of the football game. But that's still a difficult spot to be put into in a venue like this, in the very first football game at a professional sports venue. And, hey, kid, now you're starting a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what you put on film. And I guess the coaches saw something that they were like, we need to go with Anthony Edwards this game. And then Cedric Harden, just be ready.
Cedric Harden is standing there at the ready on the near sideline. But they'll go to the air here. Over the middle, incomplete behind the intended target of Nicholson.
Like the play design, a lot of moving parts. It was there, just a little bit behind.
Beg your pardon, Keontae Reinhardt, the intended target. 2nd down and 10. Wholesale changes on the Cedar Hill offense as they bring in an entire different set of skill position players. Again, just trying to unlock the offense. This is the team that got shut out a week ago at DeSoto in the Battle of the Beltline, trying to find something that will work for them on the offensive side of the ball here midway through the first quarter. Handoff and nowhere to go for Zachary Porter.
So I just noticed something. They did this twice. The play before and this play, they motioned out of twins in the boundary, and the safety and the corner came down. So I'm going to see if Cedar Hill's offensive coordinator was just Jarius Nicholson on a go route. There's nobody over the top of that right there.
Donovan McPhail on the tackle, and now 3rd and 14 here for Cedar Hill. 3 wides to the near side. Tight end Ernie Moore also lined up. Now he'll go far side. Need to get into Duncanville territory for a first down. Play action. Looking over the middle. Has a man wide open. Caught. First down.
That's a great ball and a great route.
Miles Roden on the receiving end. And Cedar Hill with a couple of first downs on the opening series of the football game.
He nearly got tackled by his ankle. Already you can tell that Cedar Hill is spreading it out a little bit. Trying to get, because Duncanville, their front, they make their defense.
Mm-hmm.
They can spread that front out a little bit or make the run game a lot easier for them.
1st and 10 at the 47 in Duncanville territory. Handoff, and Robert Richardson, beg your pardon, Jalen Jenkins with nowhere to go. No gain on the play. In fact, they're going to call it a loss of 2. Something to keep an eye on as the officials reset the play clock. Cedar Hill wants to slow this game way down. They're going to let a lot of that play clock run off between each play just to try and kind of limit the number of possessions in this football game. By the way, Cedric Harden now on the football field for the first time tonight. So we're going to see, it appears, a little bit of a timeshare now between Anthony Edwards and Cedric Harden.
One thing I noticed, the way they're slowing the clock down was with a lot of substitutions right now. Just getting slow up to the ball, making sure they get the right play in, the right play calls, the right personnel in.
34 seconds worth of that play clock runs off between snaps. Jordan Crook with a fantastic pursuit of the football, and another loss there for Cedar Hill. And it's 3rd down and long.
Yeah, they just didn't seal off the edge right there.
And Jordan Crook came from the middle of the football field to make that play.
They ran that like it was an option play, but it didn't look like they were actually reading anybody.
We saw Cedar Hill convert a 3rd and 14 just a couple moments ago. Now 3rd and 17, and they'll bring Edwards back in place of Harden on what is a clear passing down. 4 wides, 3 to the near side. Have to get to the 37-yard line for a first down. And taken down from behind, ball's out. Cedar Hill pounces on top of it. Robert Richardson in the right place at the right time to maintain possession for the Longhorns and at least allow them to punt it away. But the pressure from Duncanville gets home.
Yeah, they knew it was a passing down. So those defensive linemen pinned their ears back and just took off. They knew they didn't have to worry about the run at all.
So 4th down and 20. And it was Amari Abor that got home, stripped the football out.
It's a playmaker.
Yes, he is. 5-star prospect. The number 2 edge rusher in America. And you just saw a little bit of why right there. Good spiraling punt will bounce inside the 25 and take a good Cedar Hill bounce inside the 15. And down right there by the Longhorns.
We got 2 flags on that Duncanville sideline. There's a lot of grabbing and throwing on both sides, so I'm interested to see which way this call goes.
This is not DeSoto Cedar Hill. It's not DeSoto Duncanville. Those 2 rivalries are a little thicker, a little more agitated, but this is still a rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
It's not to the level of those 2 games. I don't know what. Maybe DeSoto just brings out the anger in everybody in these 2 programs. But even when we were in the lead up to DeSoto Cedar Hill a week ago, I asked Carlos Lynn, "What does Duncanville really mean to y'all?" He said, "It's an important game. It's a game that certainly we want, but it's not." He's like, "It's not DeSoto Cedar Hill. It's just not the same." But still, as we've seen here in this opening quarter, there's still some fisticuffs. Yeah. There's still some frustration between these 2 programs.
And at the end of the day, they're neighbors. They're right next to each other.
No doubt.
I mean, so you gotta bully your neighbors.
So they will bring Cedar Hill back out to re-kick here after the offsetting penalties. Holding against Duncanville and then a personal foul against Cedar Hill. And they'll have to punt it once again. So back comes Sean Sipes, who just unleashed a good one that pinned Duncanville down at their own 13-yard line. We'll see if this time around he's able to repeat that or perhaps do even better.
Whoa.
A lot of confusion there, including with the sticks on the far side. It's actually supposed to be 4th and 20. They've got the sticks all out of position on the far sideline. And now a false start against Cedar Hill will take 5 yards off of this forthcoming punt from Sipes. This is certainly something to keep an eye on, just how big a difference in field position follows this sequence.
Yeah, I'm glad. Actually, you better be glad that was a false start because that punt was not that good.
Yeah, we're out of bounds right about midfield.
It's weird that that down shouldn't count because the refs, like you said, didn't have the stick set properly.
Yeah, no, they were all out of position. Now they have it correct. And a better punt than the last one, but certainly not as good as the first one. Takes a sidewards bounce, another flag on the play. This time on the near sideline, as Keontae Williams and Cavante Johnson got tangled up.
See what this one's going to be. Be big both ways. If it's against Duncanville, that'll help Cedar Hill out, get that field position back.
And it will be another hold against the Duncanville receiving team.
So Cedar Hill gets a little help right there.
They do, after what was frankly not as good a punt, but now chunked 10 yards off of that, and that'll bring the ball back inside the Duncanville 30-yard line. It has taken an hour to change possession, but finally Duncanville has the football back. And it'll be 1st and 10. They'll mark it at the 25. So all told, a 12-yard difference in field position for Duncanville. And they take over at their own 25-yard line. 1,200 of you with us right now on the WFAA YouTube channel. Please let us know in the comments where you're watching from, who you're tuning in to see tonight in the first ever football game from Globe Life Field. Right into a wall goes Malachi Medlock, and that wall is named Travian Smith.
And this Cedar Hill D-line's got some big guys up front. They can take up a lot of space, clog up a lot of running lanes, make it a lot easier for these linebackers to make plays like that. Posted in this Facebook group message earlier, and someone said Kalen Salter is going to have a great game tonight. So he's going to fly around the field.
Kylan Salter had a pretty good night a week ago against DeSoto. Probably one of the few, frankly, for Cedar Hill that did have a good night, but made some plays in that game. Has had a very nice junior season. The younger brother of Caden Salter, who played in this matchup a year ago when they were playing for a district championship. A 28-14 Duncanville win that night. Then Mark Medlock out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Beg your pardon, Caden Durham on the carry. Mark him out of bounds at the 31. It'll be 3rd and 4 here for the Panthers offense.
This is a big third down early for Cedar Hill's defense, especially in the battlefield position early.
They had a couple on that opening drive, and finally they were able to get off the football field prior to the field goal. Can they get a stop here in Duncanville's own territory? Well blocked on the near side, and Caden Durham's got the corner. Up the near sideline and out of bounds at the 48-yard line, just barely. But a first down, and more flags fly in.
That's a tough one right there. That's a tough one. Yeah, it was after the whistle, but it's hard to hear sometimes down there. And he's still running. He's still moving.
I mean, how is he supposed to know, frankly? That's Kylan Salter that came through, and the officials are discussing this.
That's tough.
When you've got a kid that is still very clearly running the football, I'll bet you Caden Durham didn't think the play was over. Watch this again. Yes, he went out of bounds right there, but Caden Durham is still running like the play is still happening. Caden Durham thinks the play is still happening. He was not surprised to get hit by Kylan Salter. Kylan Salter thought the play was still happening. I don't know how you throw that flag.
Yeah, that's a rough one. That was one of those ones where the refs looked at each other like, should we throw it? And they're like, yeah, we have to.
Nice play on the edge by Cedar Hill, as scraping across to make the tackle is Keandre Jackson. And it'll be 2nd down and 10, no gain on the play.
Yeah, if these corners aren't going to be able to make plays on the outside, the safeties are going to have to step up and do it. These Duncanville wide receivers are really, really blocking well tonight.
Grady Dale and his crew do a great job, but I'm sorry, I don't know how you throw that flag. That is 2 kids playing football that didn't realize the play was over. I don't know how you penalize that. 2nd down and 10. Medlock on the carry into the pile, and a gain of 3.
I guess at the end of the day, you have to set the tone early as the refs. You don't want something like that to happen again later in the game and then start something. So I guess you just call it early, set the tone. Be like, hey,
I do understand. I mean, as an officiating crew, it is your job not just to call the penalties, but control the football game. And as we were talking about just moments prior, this is a game that has some extra emotion. We've already seen some of that with some post-play fisticuffs. That's not what that was.
Yeah.
But I can understand making it abundantly clear to both teams we're going to call it tight tonight. Over the middle, 1st down. Jarrell Powers on the receiving end, and it's 1st and 10 for Duncanville in the red zone.
Now Duncanville's slowing the pace down a little bit, getting the plays that they want. It's a good job by Jarrell Powers finding the hole in the zone right there.
And well blocked up front. Malachi Medlock helped out in pass protection, kept Solomon James clean, and he gets rewarded for it with the carry here on 1st and 10. Stiff arms his way and drags a body for 5.
He's a good, strong runner. He's not easy to bring down. 2 solid stiff arms right there.
Officially, they'll give him 4 on the play. 2nd down and 6. Medlock once again always seems to be falling forward. Always seems to be an extra 2 yards every time because he falls downfield every time.
Yeah, that's what makes running backs to the next level so great. Always falling forward, taking more than one guy to take him down.
Texas high school football at Globe Life Field tonight here on Friday Night Football, the WFAA YouTube channel, also on the WFAA app via Roku and Amazon Fire TV. What a defensive play by Harvey Dyson, and down goes Solomon James, and it's going to be 4th down.
He came right off the edge, read it perfectly. As an unblocked DN and the line's going away from you want to scrape down the line of scrimmage until something comes back your way.
The scoreboard you're seeing on your screen is fed by the in-house scoreboard data. Now they're starting to catch up. They still had 1st and 10 through that entire possession. Like we said, this is a dry run. First time they've ever had a football game here at Globe Life Field, and still kind of catching up. It's actually 4th down and 6. They've got to get to the 9-yard line for a 1st down, and Duncanville's going to go for it again. James to the air, over the middle, has a man, complete, touchdown. Lontrell Turner on the receiving end, and Duncanville finds pay dirt first.
That was a close one right there. Kylan Salter almost got underneath that one for the interception. He read it perfectly and missed it, but it was a really good ball. Perfectly run slant route right across the middle.
James to Turner for 15 yards and a touchdown. And it's 9-0 Duncanville. Armando Benitez on for the extra point. And on the very final play of the first quarter, Duncanville scores. And they look to make it 10-0 here on the end time down with Benitez. That is up and through, and it's 10-0 Panthers after 1. We'll return to Globe Life Field on Friday Night Football after this.
How in the world? On 4th and less than a yard. The 5, touchdown. What a catch. Nice cut upfield. To Pater.
What's better than Texas high school football, man?
Next up.
As we welcome you back to Globe Life Field here on Friday Night Football, 10-0 Duncanville after the James to Turner 15-yard touchdown pass on the final play of the opening frame. And Duncanville to kick it away, deep kick this time up the middle of the football field, and that will bound into the end zone and come out for a touchback for Cedar Hill. Take a look at the standings in 11-6A. Duncanville atop those standings. Beg your pardon. My apologies, Clay Marshall, our director. He's right. I'm wrong. We're talking about the Commanders Classic right now. That is what this game is a precursor to tonight. The reason we are here in the first place is because Army and Air Force will play on this field 15 days from now in the Commanders Classic. They wanted to have a high school football game as a dry run. They called Cedar Hill and Duncanville about 10 days ago and said, we'd love to have you guys play your rivalry football game on our home field. And both teams jumped on it. It was supposed to be a Cedar Hill home game, but the opportunity to have a little bit of history, they jumped on it. And here we are tonight with a little bit of history for Texas high school football in the first game at Globe Life Field. Carry there for Cedric Harden on the first play of the series for a gain of 4.
So the crowd's getting the wave going right now. Trying to get some energy in the crowd.
Capacity here at Globe Life Field, 40,418. They only have the lower bowl available this evening. They will have all 40,000 plus available for November 6th for Army and Air Force. It'll be interesting to see just how many people come out here for that game. Harden trying to get to the sideline and pursued very well by what is a very fast Duncanville defense. Loses the 4 yards he gained on the first play of the series, and it's 3rd down.
If I'm Cedar Hill, though, I'm kind of worried right now. I haven't scored a point in 5 quarters.
Yeah.
So
they need to find something that is going to unlock their offense. Doesn't help that Kylan Ashton, one of their best players, a guy who plays a lot of running back, a lot of wide receiver, even plays some Wildcat quarterback for them, is out tonight. He's out there in a boot, so he's not playing this evening. In fact, a loss of 6 on that play, so it's 3rd down and 11 here for Cedric Arden and company. 3 wides to the far side, play action, looking that way, pressure in his face, just heaves it up, and well out of play, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, he had a lot of pressure in his face right there. He had the right idea, just throw it up, get it out of bounds, and let my guy make a play.
So that series will go down as exactly what Carlos Lynn did not want tonight.
Exactly.
A 55-second 3-and-out and punt the ball back to Duncanville.
Just got to figure something out on that Cedar Hill sideline. They're not having any success stretching this defense out. They're not having any success running right at the middle. So
coming after it, nearly blocked. I'm not sure how that wasn't blocked. They may have gotten a piece of it. It does at least get out to the 43-yard line. But fantastic field position forthcoming for Duncanville.
You don't swat at the ball, Mike. You got to punch at the ball.
Yeah, I think he just whiffed.
Yeah.
He was in.
He went for the swat. You got to shoot both hands at the punter's foot.
I would say, exactly. Punter's foot has to be your aiming point, especially when you're that far in. And if you get a piece of the football, any potential penalty is wiped off the table. There is no roughing the kicker. There is no running the kicker if you contact the football. You're that far in, you're going to contact the football if you dive at the punter's foot.
Pretty sure
Still, it ends up with great field position for Duncanville, but what's that?
He overran the ball now that I think about it.
He kind of did, yeah. Still, though, outstanding field position for Solomon James and the Duncanville Panthers offense at the Cedar Hill 43-yard line. Medlock with the handoff, following his man. He's got a 1st down and then some. Inside the 20, galloping his way down the sideline. Medlock stays in bounds and scores. 43 yards on the first play of the series, and Duncanville takes a 3-score lead.
Yeah, that was minimal effort right there from the Cedar Hill defense, but it was perfectly blocked by the Duncanville offense.
Malachi Medlock. Last year in the district championship game between these two teams, had 182 yards and 2 touchdowns on 21 carries in that 28-14 Duncanville win. Tonight with a 43-yarder right there to make it 16-0. The extra point here from Benitez is up and through and makes me a truthful man saying it's a 3-possession game. It wasn't until that PAT went through. But Medlock with the touchdown run, and it's 17-0
So
Duncanville.
Mike, I'm over here looking at your notes right now. He is 208 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing. So let's see if he can get that tonight.
It's on the table. See if we can get an updated look at the stats this evening. He's already had a couple of longer carries. Prior to that play, he had 30, so give him 73 now on the night. Still a long way to go to get to 208, but
yep. Well, he is over.
A good start.
He's around like 863, 62, something like that. Quick math. He's almost there. I don't know. 850. I'll give him around 850 right now.
He's at 73, so 73 plus 92 is 865.
Yeah, somewhere in the range.
You were close.
I was a psych major.
Good. Fielded at the 6-yard line here by Keelan Mims on the kickoff return. Brings it out across the 20 to the 22. And back comes the Cedar Hill offense, and the Longhorns need to find something, and quickly.
Yeah, they do. Whatever they did that last drive, they need to scratch it, take it out of the playbook, just go find something else again.
We've seen them move the football a little bit in this first half. They had some success. Anthony Edwards connected on a couple of big passing plays, and they were able to move the football with some success. We do see Edwards come back at quarterback here to start this series.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I wonder if they can go back, because that last drive they went with Cedric Harden, all run plays. besides the one pass play that went out of bounds. See what they do with Anthony Edwards here. Looks like they're spreading it out more, too.
1st and 10 from the 22 here for Edwards. 4 wide receivers set. Handoff, though, up the middle for Richardson, or Jalen Jenkins, I should say, and he's taken down. He was down. They haven't blown the whistle yet. His elbow certainly went down there. They did not blow the play dead, and he may have been able to sneak an extra 2 yards out of the play here. Watch this. As his elbow goes down.
Oh, I guess the ref couldn't
right
see
there.
That. Yeah.
At the 19-yard line, no whistle, and the ball ends up getting marked at the 23. That's a 4-yard difference right there in where the football is as compared to should be.
There's just no running lanes out there for him. Breaks one tackle, there's 3 more defenders in his face.
Got a guy in the comments, Matt Lopez, who's harping on these kids pretty hard, says there's no way any of these kids are going D1. I hate to break it to you, but you're very wrong about that. That was a fantastic play by Colin Simmons, who's just a sophomore. And to your point, Matt Lopez has offers from Michigan State, SMU, Amari Abor, number 23, on the opposite end from him on the Duncanville defensive line, I should say. Has offers from Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Texas A&M. I could go on, but I think you get my point. There's some high-level football players on this field. Texas high school football, especially here in the DFW area, is on a very high level.
There's not a game going on tonight out here, especially in 6A, that you're probably not going to find a Division I player.
Pressure, and it's intercepted. Picked off on the far sideline, and waltzing into the end zone is Lamadrick Spencer with a pick 6.
This Duncanville defense is on fire tonight. It's causing havoc in the backfield, allowing their secondary to make plays like that.
Lamadrick Spencer with the pick. The pressure off the edge from Duncanville by Vernon Grant III that forced the early throw, and back the other way goes Duncanville, and it's 23-0 Panthers.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand early for Cedar Hill. There's no energy on their sideline. They need to find something they can be energized about.
Armando Benitez has been busy tonight. Already a field goal and 3 extra points, and it's 24-0 Panthers. 2 touchdowns for Duncanville in a, well, let's extend it further. 3 touchdowns for Duncanville from the final play of the first quarter to the 9:30 mark of the second quarter. 2.5 minutes worth, 2 minutes and let's say 37 seconds of game time. I'm not exactly sure what the clock read at the start of that James to Turner touchdown pass on the very final play of the first quarter. But in just a little over 2.5 minutes, Duncanville has thrown 21 points on the board.
Yeah, this game's been flipped on its head in a blink of an eye. But at the same time, Cedar Hill has the athletes to do that as well. They just got to withhold the Duncanville pressure right now.
Lamadrick Spencer with the pick 6. It was Vernon Grant III who had the pressure off the edge and a 30-yard interception return for a touchdown. And it's 24-0 Panthers. Kickoff up the near sideline. Awkward bounce, and that's going to roll out of bounds and will give Cedar Hill good field position. So if you're Carlos Lynn, this is your opportunity for your football team to maybe try and find some positive momentum. You're going to start out at the 35-yard line. They need something to start right here.
Yes, good field position always helps an offense out.
Beg your pardon, 30-yard line. The point stands, though. Good field position to start the drive, and they will bring Cedric Harden Jr., the starter all season for Cedar Hill, back on the field to play quarterback to start this series. We've seen he and Anthony Edwards swap back and forth at the quarterback position. Edwards started tonight, but we've seen a healthy portion of both of them. Motion man across the formation. That's Keon Bright. And the handoff goes to Richardson, and there's just nowhere for him to go.
There's just nowhere to go at all, like you said.
The offensive line for Cedar Hill is banged up. They've had a lot of injuries this season. They've had some freshmen that have had to play in some key spots. So that factors in. I mean, you got very young and some inexperienced kids going against Amari Abor. I'm sorry, but good luck. Yeah, that's a really tough assignment.
Yeah, all these guys, just Division I talent on that defensive line.
Amari Abor, 5-star prospect, has the pick of the litter. Quincy Wright, 3-star prospect, just inside of him at defensive tackle, committed to Oregon State. Colin Simmons on the other bookend, just a sophomore, but already getting some big-time offers, and there's just nowhere to go. Jordan Crook, an Arkansas commit. There are college football players all over the defense for the Duncanville Panthers, and there's just no room.
That play that Jordan Cook just made was amazing. Go from the opposite side. The Will linebacker on that play. And they make
Kid had 27 scholarship offers.
Yeah, the kid's big. I went when we were on the field earlier.
Yeah.
I saw him. I was like, yeah, that kid's got talent.
Third down and 18 here. Harden in shotgun, 3 wides to the left. Cedar Hill needs something to pop for him. Abor off the edge and in the backfield in a heartbeat. Amari Abor and Donovan McPhail get home. There is a flag on the play. I wonder if Abor was offside. He was in the backfield at the snap.
That flag came late.
It did.
Oh,
you see his get-off was – his get-off may have been just a little bit too good. Now they're going to wipe the flag off. Apparently it wasn't too good. If we can get one more look at that, watch Amari Abor at the snap. I mean, he was with the snap. Yeah. I don't think he was. I mean, the angle we have there isn't certainly obviously right down the line, so it's a little bit hard to say with any definitive nature. But I think he was just perfectly timed.
Yeah, Phoenix Crump didn't even see him come off the ball. These kids are talented.
Abor and McPhail combined for the sack. They were in the lap of Cedric Harden in no time.
Matt Lopez, that guy is Division I talent right there.
Big chance here on the return. Inside the 25 and finally stood up is Davion Blewett, who took it from his own 48-yard line. A 28-yard return. And once again, excellent field position for the Duncanville Panthers. They are the best team in District 11 6A, and it's by a fairly healthy margin. They beat Duncanville 42-21 earlier this year here on Friday Night Football. DeSoto started that football game up 14-0.
Yeah.
From that point forward, a little bit of a slow start for Duncanville, first district game on the road. They didn't start that game great. Once they got things rolling, they outscored DeSoto 42-7 the rest of the way. This is a Duncanville football team that has got big potential this year.
Another point, since you brought up that DeSoto game, looks like they've only allowed 3 points.
Since that night.
Yeah.
They were in a 3-3 tie with Waxahachie last week at halftime and then hung 49 on them in the second half. 7 second-half touchdowns to win 52-3. The Duncanville Panthers have climbed back up to 4th in the state rankings after they dropped a little bit after their early season loss to Mater Dei out of California, 45-3, which makes you wonder just how good is Mater Dei as Medlock carries and lowers his shoulder inside the 20 and close to first down yardage. Since then, they have not lost, and I would go as far as to say they will not lose until the postseason if they do lose in the postseason.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough team to beat. Pitching 2 shutouts and allowing only 3 points. So that's really good.
3rd down and 3 here. Cedar Hill trying to find some sort of stop. They won't. Medlock, as a helmet goes flying, will have enough for the first down, just barely. 1st and 10 at the 13. as Kylan Salter will have to come off the field after his helmet got pulled off there.
But if you're Cedar Hill, what do you do right now?
Pray?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to make light of the situation, but that's how good Duncanville is this year. And usually, to give a lot of credit to Cedar Hill where it is deserved, usually they're just about as good, if not some years better. This year's a little bit of a down year for the Cedar Hill Longhorns, and Duncanville with now a 30-0 lead as Decorian Moore, the freshman, climbs the ladder and hauls in the 4th touchdown of the day for the Duncanville Panthers.
Yeah, Donovan Hubbard's got to try to make a play on that ball right there. When the receiver opens up early like that, you got to be able to get your head around.
Decorian Moore, a 6-foot, 175-pound freshman who has started games this year for the number 4 team in the state of Texas. Think about how good a 14-year-old football player you got to be able to say that.
Yeah, he's already got offers, too.
The future is very bright for Decorian Moore. Goes down as a 13-yard hookup from James to Moore.
That's a good ball right there from Solomon James, too.
Yes, it is. And that, to me, is the big question mark for this Duncanville football team as you try to now prognosticate into the playoffs for this team. We know they can run the football. We know they can body up with anybody with their offensive line, with Jalen Early, a 4-star Florida State commit, with Cameron Williams, a 3-star Oregon commit, with Noah Ponce, the transfer from Nolan Catholic, who's fantastic. They've got the bodies up front. Kadarian Miles, Ladarian Davis, their 2 starting guards. They've got the bodies up front to move people around, and Malachi Medlock and Caden Durham can find those holes and make plays in the run game. That much is abundantly clear. We've seen that tonight. We saw that earlier this year against DeSoto. Can Solomon James in the passing game, they're good. Can they be good enough for Duncanville to be a state championship contender? I think they can. But that's really the one potential question mark with the Duncanville Panthers because, as you alluded to earlier, only 3 points allowed since they played DeSoto. We know their defense has got the goods, too.
Yeah.
They've got the defense. They've got the running game. If Solomon James in the passing game can really get going, as that ball came out at the end of the play, I think he was down, and they will indeed say he was down. That is properly called. We'll take another look at the replay to make sure that my initial look at that is correct, but I think the officials have this one right. But they've got the defense. They've got the running game. If they can get Solomon James in the passing game really rolling, that becomes very dangerous. It's close. He may have still been up. Not that Duncanville really needs any help at the moment. That may have been called down on the field out of mercy.
My bad, Mike. I'm still over here trying to think. Let me pull out my pocket dictionary if you said prognosticate.
Start of the series, handoff here for Jalen Jenkins. And again, the Duncanville defense is there. Deldrick Madison on the tackle.
They're just swarming, not even letting up at all. Usually when you get a big lead like this, you see defenses just let up a little bit. Not this Duncanville defense. I think they know. I think they know they've only given up 3 points in the last couple games.
They gave up 45 the very first night of the season against Mater Dei out of California, which is the number 1 team in the country right now. They gave up 27 to South Oak Cliff. It's got a good program. South Oak Cliff's one of the top 5A D2 programs in the state. They gave up 21 to DeSoto. Goose egg against Midway, goose egg against Lake Ridge, 3 points against Waxahachie, and nothing so far tonight. Harden trying to set up the screen. They've got it set up, and a lot of green grass in front of Jalen Jenkins, and some blockers too, outside the 45-yard line and across midfield, the best play of the night for the Cedar Hill Longhorns, and it's first down.
That was the best play of the night for them, and definitely. But did you see number 8, Colin Simmons? Watch where he comes from. He's on the ground right there, 3 to 4 yards behind the play.
Probably at least.
Still hustling, still hustling, still hustling. Makes that tackle.
Colin Simmons cut that and put that on your highlight reel to send to D1 coaches.
Right. If you want to play Division I football, it's exactly what you need on your highlight tape.
That's a sophomore. That's a sophomore making a leadership play. First and 10 for Cedar Hill. They'll mark it right at the midfield stripe. Harden with 4 wides. Play action. Quick pass on the outside. Has a man complete, and that will be enough for a first down. To me, because you look at the playoff structure, because Cedar Hill's still going to be a playoff team. They would need to, frankly, fall apart over these final 3 weeks of the regular season to not be a playoff team. They play tonight against Duncanville, of course, at Midway, a team that they should beat, and then at home against Mansfield, and that will be an interesting football game. That game, basically, to me, it comes down to the 4th playoff team out of this district, beyond DeSoto, Duncanville, and Cedar Hill, is going to be the winner of tonight's Mansfield versus Waxahachie game.
That's what it's starting to look like.
The winner of that game looks like they are now in the driver's seat to be that 4th playoff team. We've seen Cedar Hill beat Waxahachie, so they have that head-to-head tiebreaker, and they have still the opportunity to play Mansfield. So even if Mansfield, let's say, wins tonight, Cedar Hill still is in a position where they can control their own destiny as far as being the number 1 seed out of this district in the 6A D2 bracket. And looking through the 6A D2 bracket in Region 2, nobody's super scary until you get about 4 rounds deep.
But if you want to win those rounds, you got to beat teams like this. Not on Duncanville's caliber.
But I guess that's my point, is you're not going to play a team of Duncanville's caliber in the 6A D2 Region 2 bracket for a minute. Cedar Hill will play as likely the number 1 seed out of this district in 6A D2, because Duncanville and DeSoto, 1 and 2, will go into the 6A D1 bracket. Cedar Hill is a smaller school in the 6A ranks, will go to the D2 bracket. As on 3rd down and 3 here, a big play for Cedar Hill is frankly their best drive so far in this football game. Jenkins spun down behind the line, and the Duncanville coaching staff that is in the booth directly to the left of us loved that play as they scraped across behind the line of scrimmage and made the play. Nice job by Quincy Wright and Vernon Grant III to combine on that play, and it's 4th down.
It's a big decision right here, but you have to go for it. There's no reason kicking it.
I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, first of all, you're talking about a 51-yard field goal, and Sean Sipes is a good kicker, but he doesn't have that kind of range. But down 31-0, 3 points, even if you could get them from here, don't do you a whole lot of good. You need 7. It is Cedar Hill ball to start the second half. If they could double up and all of a sudden it's 31-14 5 minutes into the 3rd quarter, okay, now you're working with something. Now you've got a little bit of momentum, but they kind of need that, and it won't happen here as it's Amari Abor in the backfield again. Down goes Cedric Harden, and it's a turnover on downs.
It's a lot of miscommunication right there. Doesn't look like anybody was on the same page at all. I mean, looking at the playoff picture, yeah, you expect Cedar Hill to be the 4th team in, but these last 2 weeks they haven't really shown.
Right. Well, so that was kind of where I was going with this, though. They're going to play the runner-up at a 12-6A in the first round. Looks like one of 3 teams, Harker Heights, Bryan, or Colleen Shoemaker. I think Cedar Hill's better than those 3 football teams.
Yep.
They get past that point, now you're playing maybe Garland, maybe Naaman Forest, maybe Rowlett, maybe Tyler Legacy. That's kind of the 4-team possibilities there. Obviously, there's still a lot of sorting out to be done as Cedar Hill gets home with the sack here. Loss of 5 on the first play of the series here for Duncanville, as finishing them off was Zaylen Scott, the sophomore. They're really excited about this kid's future. But I think basically the point I'm trying to make here is you're down 31-0. Chances are pretty good you're not coming back to win tonight. But this is the best test you're going to get all season long. Can you find a little bit of momentum? Can you find some offense, which they have not been able to find now in a couple weeks? Even against Waxahachie, they struggled, only scored 14 points in that football game. If they can get something going with their offense, this is still a team that I think can go a couple rounds deep in the 6A D2 bracket.
And
they need to find that offense.
Yeah, they're going to have to lean on their defense until then. I mean, the defense was really put in a lot of tough positions early in this game.
Yes.
But you got to figure it out.
3rd down here Trying to get off the football field is the Panthers, and that's intercepted. What a great play, scaling high for the ball by Keandre Jackson. And the interception made by the senior, his third of the year.
Like I said, you got to lean on that defense. It's a great play right there. Way to high point that.
That's a tremendous catch.
I think he got an interception in the DeSoto game, didn't he?
Maybe right before halftime. Did he intercept the Hail Mary? Is that what you're thinking of?
I think he did. But I'm glad.
DeAndre Jackson with a tremendous catch.
I'm just going to say I'm glad to see their defense still fighting. Hopefully they give their offense some life going in these last 40 seconds, going into halftime.
They do not have any timeouts remaining. Or at least according to our scoreboard, they don't. The in-house scoreboard is somehow different than ours, says they have 2 timeouts remaining. I'm not sure how that's possible because their data feeds our data, but that's what it says. Complete on the far sideline. So we'll go with the in-house, 2 timeouts remaining for Cedar Hill. 35 seconds to work with. Sean Sipes, their kicker, they feel like they have range with him out to about 44, 45. In order to be in that range, they'd need to get to about the 28-yard line.
Yeah, I know for a fact Duncanville called a timeout on their first drive.
Yeah. Yeah, both teams with 2 timeouts remaining, according to the in-house scoreboard. Do stay with us at halftime here on Friday Night Football as we will bring you the halftime show. Both bands, both drill teams will take the field here in about 33 seconds of game time, and it's intercepted over the middle, and a lot of green grass for Jordan Crook to the sideline, cuts back inside to the 20-yard line. Another interception for the Duncanville Panthers defense. They've been dominant tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what Cedric Harden was looking at right there. I don't know if he expected his guys to shut it down, but he threw it right to Jordan Cook.
Jordan Crook on his way to Arkansas. 6 foot, 225, and as you said earlier, we were down on the field looking at him. He looks even bigger than that. That's a young man that's going to play in the SEC, and for good reason. Brings it back to the 19-yard line, and out comes this Duncanville Panthers offense with 24 seconds to work with and those 2 timeouts. And Solomon James and company looking for blood. Looking for more blood, let's be honest. Over the middle, incomplete for Chris Hicks.
Yeah, Duncanville's looking to put the ball in the end zone again. It is a beautiful night for some football, though.
It is gorgeous here tonight. A little bit warm, in fact. Check and see exactly what we're dealing with temperature-wise here prior to 2nd and 10 for Solomon James. Motion man is Hicks across the formation. He'll take a quick toss on jet motion. Has a block by Durham. Cuts inside of that, inside the 10-yard line, and a first down for Duncanville. 12 seconds on this first half clock, and a timeout called by Reginald Samples, their second of this half.
So a legal block right there that the refs miss. New rule in football, you cannot block going back in towards your line of scrimmage.
Yes. Trying to take that play out of the game for the safety of defensive players, of all players, frankly, but special teams as well. Just trying to save kids' knees, save kids' heads. I mean, it can be a dangerous play, high or low, especially if the player being blocked doesn't see it.
There's already so much risk playing the game as there is. They're trying to take out things that aren't needed, I guess you could say.
Right. Right. You can make a block. You can obstruct the path to the ball carrier without ending a kid's career, without injuring a kid's head. The kind of changes that, frankly, were necessary over the course of the last decade or so as the game of football has evolved a little bit just for the future of this sport. We all love this sport. We all want this sport to exist 50 years from now. That was a necessary piece of the puzzle. That ball tipped a couple of times, nearly hauled in by Jarrell Powers, but incomplete, and it'll be 2nd and goal.
Thought he was going to run it in there for a second.
He may have been able to, especially if you had Caleb Kenny turn and block there at the goal line. 2nd down and goal, 6 seconds to work with. Are they going to try for one more end zone shot before trying the field goal? It looks like they will. Solomon James, their senior quarterback, certainly needs to be aware of the time situation here and make sure that this is a quick throw to leave time on the clock if they need it for a field goal. Looks right. End zone, touchdown. And again, it's the freshman DeCorian Moore with 1 second on the clock. And now time expires in this first half. 37-0 Duncanville.
Yeah, if you're Cedar Hill right there, you just can't back yourself into the end zone. You got to know that the field's shortened down here, so no one's going to run by you. Just put your heels in that goal line and let everybody come to you.
An 8-yard touchdown hookup from James to Moore, their second of the day. And for the second straight quarter, Duncanville scores on the final play of the period. They scored to end the first quarter and make it 10-0. 4 more touchdowns have followed, and it's 38-0. Duncanville with the lead at halftime here at Globe Life Field. Friday Night Football will return with the halftime show after this on the WFAA Digital Network. Back at Globe Life Field, Friday Night Football, Cedar Hill and Duncanville, and a 38-0 lead for the Duncanville Panthers at halftime. Mike Leslie and Julius Lewis back here with you in the broadcast booth. This has been a dominant performance from the Duncanville Panthers, and it really started right at the start of the second quarter.
Yeah, right at the start of the second quarter, Duncanville really started to turn it on a little bit. Some things went Duncanville's way. Cedar Hill not really going with their game plan, and then just downhill from there.
Cedar Hill, one of the things they really wanted to do in this football game was slow things down a good bit. Try and keep the Duncanville offense off the football field. In fact, Carlos Lynn said it to me exactly this way earlier this week. He said it's not going to do us any good if we have 3 and outs where we only have the ball for 1 minute and 7 seconds and we punt the ball away. Sure enough, on the very first series of the second quarter, right after Duncanville had gone in and taken a 10-0 lead, almost exactly that is what happened. A very quick 3 and out for Cedar Hill. Barely over a minute worth of time of possession. They punt the football away. Short punt, good field position for Duncanville, and the very first play of the ensuing series, a 43-yard Malachi Medlock touchdown run, and that's just where it all started to come unraveled.
It snowballed from there, turnovers, short possessions. Duncanville had short field, and they just took advantage of what they got.
Lamondrick Spencer with an interception return for a touchdown only about a minute after that to make it 24-0, the second time this year on Friday Night Football that Lamondrick Spencer has had a pick six. He had one against DeSoto earlier this year on our air. He's a prime-time player, man. He knows how to make a play in the big moments when all the cameras are watching.
So big players make big plays under the lights,
So for Duncanville now, I mean, obviously a good performance in the first half as we're getting ready for kickoff here at Globe Life Field in this second half. It will be Cedar Hill ball to start the second half. For Duncanville, what's the focus? Obviously, you've played great in the first half. How do you now maintain that focus, though, when you know you've got the game under control?
Yeah, just playing smart football. It's a great opportunity to get other guys reps right now, guys who usually don't play a lot, and just work on the fundamentals, work on the key things. Whatever in their playbook, whatever is their bread and butter, let's just focus on that. Let's just run that. No need to get too fancy.
Belton Briscoe on the kickoff return there brings it out to the 27-yard line, and that's where we'll see the Longhorns offense get underway here in this second half. We saw a mix of Cedric Harden and Anthony Edwards in the first half. Anthony Edwards started the football game. He also starts this second half. For Cedar Hill, how do you try and start to find yourselves a little bit?
Honestly, I was wondering that the entire halftime. I was wondering that last game. They haven't answered any of my questions coming into this game, and I have even more questions now. So you got to find something that works for you.
Helmet comes off on the first play of this second half. That's Anthony Gray, the senior reserve defensive end. So he'll come off for a play. Amari Abor, the stud junior, returns to the field. Gain of a yard on the first play of this second half. Cedar Hill in the opening half of play if this isn't indicative of the half of football that it was, negative 30 rushing yards. Negative 30 rushing yards. Every player for Cedar Hill that carried the football had a negative yardage total in the first half. 5 different kids carried the football.
This defense is so scary.
Nice throw on the near side, complete and close to first down yardage. They'll be just a hair shy. It'll be 3rd and 2. Jaden Hawkins on the receiving end, out to the 35-yard line. But yeah, that's the reality of the situation here. This Duncanville Panthers defense is frightening. No fewer than 5 future Division I football players on the Duncanville defense, and it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
5 kids that are rated recruits, that are 3-star or better. 3rd down and 2, pass on the near side and knocked down. Deldrick Madison played it perfectly, and it's 4th down.
There's a lot of good defense being played right now. I just watched Jordan Crooks scrape over the top of that right there.
And Madison just erases it. And it's 4th down and 2. And Cedar Hill has to punt.
At least they're punting, because I thought Madison had a chance to pick that one and go all the way.
He did. He absolutely did. If he had decided to bring his other hand in front of Jarris Nicholson, the intended target, that could have been the second pick 6 we've seen tonight. Cedar Hill will punt it away, $1:35 into this 3rd quarter, so another short series for the Cedar Hill, I should say, offense. Good bounce here on the punt from Sean Sipes, and it'll fall dead at the 26-yard line. If you were with us at halftime, you saw the performance from the Cedar Hill Red Army Band. And Julius, I know you and I both got a kick out of the fact that they spelled out the score on the field. Cedar Hill's band. Now, I'm sure this was part of the plan pregame, and I'm certain that they hope when they set out this plan that the score is going to be better than 38-0 in the other direction. But I'm sorry. If I'm Derek Walker, the band director, I'm saying, let's scrap that. Let's not do that at halftime and spell out a 38-0 score in favor of the other team. But I will say this. Apart from, I'm not sure about that decision. Aside from that halftime show from both bands, both drill teams was spectacular.
It was a great show. I even thought the Cedar Hill band was Duncanville's band for a second.
Because they spelled out 38, and you just, Duncanville's clowning them. No, that's Cedar Hill's band doing it to themselves. Okay. All of this running room for Malachi Medlock as the escape hatch for Solomon James, up the near sideline and finally out of bounds, but into Cedar Hill territory at the 41-yard line.
Yeah, Solomon James had a good pocket on that play, went through all of his reads, and then came back to Malachi Medlock.
I'm going to toast some bread back here. Throw some butter on it. Oh, there's Malachi Medlock, and a big gain up the near sideline and into Cedar Hill territory. All day in the pocket. First and 10 at the 41. Caden Durham in there to his left. Haven't seen Duncanville go to the reserves just yet. Durham inside the 35, close to first down yardage. It'll be 2nd and 1. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 32.
There's a perfect play call right there by Duncanville. Cedar Hill came with the blitz from the wide side of the field. Easy read right there, just dump it off to the back.
The interesting reality of this football game through one half of play, Duncanville hasn't really racked up tremendously impressive stats, at least offensively, because they've had such short fields just about every time they've had the football. James over the middle and just a bit too tall. Incomplete, looking for Lontrell Turner. He skied for that one, but not quite.
He's going to want that one back. Just a little misthrow. But like you said, they've had lots of short fields to play with tonight. And that's why, like I said earlier, right at the end of the second quarter, I'm still impressed with what Cedar Hill's defense has been doing. They've been put in tough positions. Besides the one by Malachi Medlock, they've held steady.
3rd down and 1, an opportunity for him to hold steady here. Durham on the handoff, undercut, but he puts his hand in the dirt and he'll pick up the 1st down. A nice run by the sophomore running back, Caden Durham.
This running back room is really special for them.
First and 10 as they move the sticks. 27-yard line, the new line of scrimmage here for Solomon James and company. Looking to tack one more on the board here in the early goings of the 3rd quarter. Flags all over the place. James rolls out of the pocket, makes a strong throw downfield, but out of bounds is Marcus Vinson. And it looks like all of that is going to lead to a holding penalty. Penalty goes against 51 from Duncanville, Josiah Drake, the junior. That'll bring them all the way back to the 37-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 20.
Now where Cedar Hill's defense has to take advantage of that mistake. Just get off the field right here. Playing good coverage in the back end.
James in shotgun, 3 wides to his right here on 1st and 20. Handoff, Durham, patient, undercut by Peoples. Give him 3 on the carry. So we talked about Cedar Hill's playoff possibilities. Certainly looks like they'll still be a playoff team and probably still the number 1 seed out of this district in 11-6A, but in 6A D2. Look at the district standings. So there's a look at it. Duncanville and DeSoto, those top 2 teams, they will go 6A D1. Cedar Hill still probably going to be the top seed in 6A D2, and then either Waxahachie or Mansfield, the other 6A D2 playoff team. As James stepping up in the pocket, throws on the near side, complete. That won't quite be enough for a 1st down. In fact, it's still about 7 yards shy, but it makes 3rd down a bit more possible here for Duncanville. But Duncanville is going to go into this postseason as the number 1 seed out of 11-6A. They're going to play the runner-up out of 12-6A, which, you look at the 6A D1 bracket, it's substantially tougher than the 6A D2 bracket. Duncanville's probably going to get Colleen Ellison in the 1st round, Garland or Mesquite in the 2nd round, and then probably a very good Spring Westfield team in the regional semis. That's going to be a heck of a football game if that's how the playoffs play out. That ball just a bit too long for Decorian Moore and incomplete. But sign me up for Duncanville Spring Westfield in the 3rd round of the playoffs. That's going to be a heck of a football game.
Westfield, they produce too. Just as good as Duncanville. Had some old teammates come out of Westfield. And they're a really good, talented team.
So Duncanville's going to settle for the field goal here. Left hash and a 41-yarder. Noah Ponce to snap it. Davion Blewett to hold it. And Armando Benitez from the left hash from 41. Line drive kick, and that will not have enough on it. No good, and Cedar Hill's defense holds.
It's a win for Cedar Hill right there. Regardless of what the score is, we're coming out of halftime, it's always 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, you have to approach it that way, and you have to try and start to find something in this 2nd half. The next 2 weeks, look at Cedar Hill's schedule, being realistic. In back-to-back weeks, they had their 2 toughest games of the regular season, certainly of the district schedule, and probably of the entire regular season. Allen may have something to say about that. They may feel that they're a better football team than DeSoto, perhaps. But regardless, their 2 toughest tests in district play were last week against DeSoto and this week against Duncanville. The next 2 weeks, they should beat Waco Midway. And the Mansfield game will be interesting.
Yeah, I almost thought you said they were going to beat them for a second. I was like, hey.
That's Mansfield product. Julius Lewis to my right here in the press box. A makeshift press box. They spun up this broadcast booth that we are in tonight. It's where we will be, obviously, this evening. It's where the CBS crew will be a few weeks from now, 2 weeks from tomorrow for the Commanders Classic between Army and Air Force. So it's a wonderful perch to watch the football game from. In fact, the camera that you're seeing right now is situated just to our left here in our broadcast area. Coaches' booths to either side of us, the Duncanville coaches just to our left. And you've heard them clapping at a couple of different points this evening as they've seen some really good things from their defense, especially this evening. 2nd down and 8 here. Throw on the far side for Jalen Jenkins, and just immediately swarmed under. There's just nowhere to go.
Yeah, I finally have an answer to the question you asked me earlier, what I want to see out of Cedar Hill. I want to see some points. Regardless how it's done, I just want to see the ball get into the end zone or ball go through the uprights. And I think that would be good for them going forward for the rest of the season.
Just from an emotional standpoint. I mean, this is a team, again, a year ago, Cedar Hill was playing for a state championship in 6A-D2. They had arguably the best quarterback in the state in Caden Salter, and he carried this team over the course of his junior and senior year. They had Kevin Young, a fantastic running back. They had a very good defense. That was a really good football team. They're down this year, and that ball's intercepted. Going back the other way for Duncanville is Deldrick Madison, who's had a nice night. We've called his name a couple times this evening, and he comes away with the football on that play. This is a Cedar Hill program that a few short months ago was one of the best teams in the state of Texas. They are not that this year. I think that is fairly clear. But that doesn't mean that there's not still potential for this team in the 6A-D2 bracket, which is where they're going to end up. They've got talent. They've got a defense that can do some things. But they need to find a little bit of, to paraphrase Mike McCarthy preseason with the Cowboys, they need to find a little mojo right now.
Yeah.
They've got nothing at the moment.
They need to find, they still haven't found their identity on the offensive side of the ball. And it's tough. Like the last 2 weeks is tough when you don't have an identity and you don't know what you want to be as an offense. Playing two very good defenses like DeSoto and Duncanville, when you don't have that identity to lean back on, it can get rough out there, and that's what we've seen.
5:52 to play here in the third quarter, and Duncanville off the interception there by Madison, now starting to bring some of their reserves onto the football field. That's backup quarterback Jameer Willis now on the football field for the Panthers, a sophomore. Has made most of his plays this season in reserve duty in the ground game. Hands off here for Javen Square, who cuts upfield and picks up all that penalty yardage and then some. Give him 10 on the carry, and it's going to be 2nd down and 5. I like that from the junior running back. He's out there on the edge pointing out blocks and has a teammate come through and take care of Kylan Salter so that he can cut upfield. That's a veteran play from Javen Square.
Directing traffic out there.
When you're 5'7", 165, you need a little help from your friends out there in 6A football, and he got it there. This time it's going to be a keep for Willis, and he picks up a yard right to the 15-yard stripe. Talked about Duncanville and the possibility of playing Spring Westfield in the regional semis in 6A-D1 and Region 2. If they get past that, you probably find Rockwall Heath in the regional final. Again, sign me up for that. There are some really good games coming down the pike in this postseason, especially between DFW combatants. There's some good football being played in this area here in North Texas. And Duncanville is certainly among those teams. Willis going to keep it himself here again and snowed under. A nice play by Jacoby Clayton to take him down for a loss of 3, and it's 4th down.
You're the Duncanville staff right now, like, regardless of what the score is, you should be thankful that you can get your backups, quarterbacks, some reps right now.
Yeah. I mean, if there is a program that knows that battle all too well, it's Duncanville, who lost their starting quarterback in a state semifinal a couple years ago to a torn ACL and had to play with their backup in the state championship game. And how different might that game have been against North Shore, as the field goal this time is punched through. A 35-yarder up and through from Benitez, his second made field goal of the night, now 2 for 3 on the evening. made a 35-yarder just there, made a 36-yarder in the first half. And it is 41-0 in favor of Duncanville.
We haven't seen any Anthony Edwards yet.
Not in this second half, no. Yeah, Jaquindon Jackson back in December of 2019, the second year of Duncanville's back-to-back trips to the state championship game. They played North Shore both years. And unfortunately for Reginald Samples and company, they lost both of those games. The first game they lost in as heartbreaking a fashion as you could imagine, on a Hail Mary on the very last play of the football game to lose 41-36. Otherwise, Reginald Samples would have the state championship that, frankly, that man deserves after the career he's had. Then the very next year, they win their way all the way to AT&T Stadium to play for a state championship again against North Shore, but in the state semifinals against Jackson Smith and Jigba and Rockwall, Jaquindon Jackson tore his ACL, and they had to go with a backup quarterback in the state championship game. And to his credit, that young man played very well that day, but not well enough to win, and Duncanville as a team didn't play well enough to win that day. You can only wonder how much different might that football game have been if Jaquindon Jackson was able to play that day. So yeah, if the Duncanville staff doesn't know by now, get your backup quarterback some reps, because you just never know what may happen in a Texas high school football season.
Losing 2 back-to-back state championships really puts a giant chip on your shoulder too. I think they have a lot to prove, not only to the rest of these Texas high school football teams, but a lot to prove to themselves.
They've come out and shown it over the course of the last couple of weeks, just what they want to accomplish. Another nice defensive play by Jordan Crook. He and Anthony Gray combined to get in the backfield, and another tackle for loss. It has been tough sledding tonight for the Cedar Hill ground game. Anthony Edwards is back in there, quarterback for Cedar Hill to start this drive.
Jordan Crook just moves laterally so well.
One of the captains of this team, one of the leaders certainly of this football team. We've got a cheerleader battle happening in the far end zone. I don't know if we've got the ability to get a shot of that, but it has been heated. And the Cedar Hill cheerleaders are getting fired up. The fans are even getting into it. That's the Duncanville cheerleaders right there, and it appears they won the battle as the Cedar Hill cheerleaders have retreated to the near sideline. So it's all Duncanville tonight, on the football field and off. The jury's out on the bands at halftime. That was a pretty close battle.
Yeah.
We'll leave that up to you guys in the comments who you think had the better show from the bands in the first half. Deep ball, but nobody's home on 3rd down and 12.
A little miscommunication right there. It's been like that all night for Cedar Hill.
Fourth and a dozen, and Cedar Hill will punt it away once again. Looking forward on the Friday night football schedule. Next week we head to Prosper for a key game in District 5 6A. Prosper Eagles and the Allen Eagles. Allen ranked number 10 in the state in 6A. Looking for a district championship. They beat Denton Geyer a couple weeks ago. As that punt is short, and I think he thought about fielding that for a moment, but decides not to. Keontae Williams had 6 points in mind. They're going to give the football back to Cedar Hill here, roughing the kicker.
I looked away. I saw a guy run by him, and I looked away after that. Oh, okay.
You can't hit
especially the legs of the punter.
I'm surprised that wasn't running into the kicker.
That's kind of where I am too, but I think that would have maybe made, if this were a 41-37 football game, I think that's running into the kicker. I think in the given circumstance, they give Cedar Hill the football. That's the kind of thing that'll drive, even in a 41-0 football game, that'll drive Reginald Samples nuts.
Yeah, it would.
There's almost a part of me that wonders if you're Reginald Samples as they set up the tunnel screen here, and that's been one of the better looking plays of the night for Cedar Hill. Joshua Manley getting involved, and that's a young man they need to get involved. Talk about Cedar Hill and their need to get the passing game going. Number 17 needs to be a key piece of that. The junior did not catch a ball last week against DeSoto, has just 5 receptions on the year, now 6. According to Carlos Lynn, he's got the best hands on the team and is a really talented kid that they need to get more involved in their passing game. So looking forward for Cedar Hill, you need to see more of 17. That's going to be a face mask rather clearly.
But with the D-line in a linebacker group so aggressive, those are the type of plays that you need. Lots of screen plays.
Mm-hmm. You got to use that aggression against them. What I was going to say there is, if I'm Reginald Samples, I'm almost thankful for the roughing the kicker penalty, for that face mask penalty right there, because now, tomorrow in film study, I'm going to harp on that until I'm blue in the face, just to deliver the point, hey, sure, you played a good football game, you won big against a good football team, you're feeling yourself.
And then
now sit down.
Yeah, and what is this? And what is this?
There's still things to perfect. That gives Cedar Hill a free first down in Duncanville territory. Harden with some lead blockers, carries for 6. It's been a while since we've seen Cedar Hill in Duncanville territory. So it's Allen at Prosper next week here on Friday Night Football, and then in the regular season finale, frankly, a huge game. So there's next week, Allen at Prosper. That should be a really good football game. Prosper's got a good football team, and they're fighting for playoff positioning. They've got Allen on their home field. That one should be fun next week. And then the week after that, the biggest game in the state in the final week of the regular season, as the number 1 team in the state, the defending 5A Division I state champion, Denton Ryan, on the road for what is really their biggest test of their 5A schedule. They played Denton Geyer earlier this year, one of the best 6A teams in the state. That was probably their stiffest test of the entire schedule. But the best 5A team that they're going to play in the regular season comes on the road against number 7 Frisco Lone Star at Ford Center at the Star. That one should be tremendous, and we hope you will join us for that one here on Friday Night Football. Right now, we're staring at the final play of the first quarter, of the third quarter most likely, and nowhere to go again. Duncanville, even with some of their reserves on the field, making plays. Elijah Wilson with the tackle for loss. And that wraps up 3 quarters of football here at Globe Life Field. Friday Night Football will return with the 4th after this.
How in the world? On 4th and less than a yard. The 5, touchdown. What a catch. Nice cut on field. To Pater.
What's better than Texas high school football, man? Next up, a test for a top 10 team as Allen visits Prosper. Next Friday at 7 on the WFAA YouTube channel.
What an atmosphere tonight here at Globe Life Field. The football game, unfortunately, didn't really match, but still a special night for all these kids to be a part of history. The very first football game ever played here at Globe Life Field. 4th and 5, and Cedar Hill's going to go for it here. Harden, near side, complete, first down. Inside the 30 to the 26-yard line.
Exactly what you need to do. Move the pocket. Screen passes. Quick passes. That's the only thing that stops the D-line like this.
Jaden Hawkins on the receiving end. 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line now for Cedar Hill. Harden claps for the snap. Pressure in his face once again. Rolls out, has a man downfield. Looking, end zone. Knocked away. He had 2 guys down there. He had Felton Briscoe running open a couple of different times there. I'm not sure if he was looking for Briscoe or Joshua Manley.
Yeah, he had 2 guys right there. Overthrew one. Oh, hit him right in the chest.
You said it earlier, you want to see Cedar Hill find some points here. They need to find a little bit of just something to make them feel good going into next week's game against Waco Midway. Again, that's a game that they should win. Midway, frankly, this year is not very good. As Harden tried to get the corner, run out of bounds, maybe a gain of a yard or 2. In fact, based on where they're marking that, it looks like he may have lost a yard.
Yeah, it looks like he backed up a little bit.
Midway has had a tough season. They lost to this Duncanville team back on September 24th, 76-0. So that's a game that, frankly, Cedar Hill should win, and that will help start to kind of right the ship a little bit going into what will probably be an important game against Mansfield in the final week of the regular season. 3rd and a dozen, end zone shot once again, caught at the 2, and he's in. Touchdown, Cedar Hill. Jarris Nicholson on the receiving end, 28 yards for the score.
See, this is what they need to do going forward. Move the pocket around, send guys crossing routes. They're finding what works for them.
They've got that ball spotted very close. I've never seen this. Look at how close they are to the line of scrimmage with their field goal. And that did not go well. Recovered by Duncanville as the snap went right by the holder. There is a flag on the play. But they had the holder set up with the kicking block at like the 7-yard line. They're going to get another shot at it here. Duncanville was offside. So they're going to move it about a yard and a half closer and try this PAT again. Watch this. Let's see if they do it again. They had their holder. Jaden Hawkins is their holder, number 16. Usually you see teams set up 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. The ball is at about the 1.5-yard line. He's got the block on it's inside the 6-yard line. It's at the 5.5-yard line. There's like 4 yards between the line of scrimmage and that block. I've never seen this.
Analytics. It's got to be analytics.
Cedar Hill draws them offside again. Maybe this is the strategy. They're confusing Duncanville by having the line of the kicking block so close.
Go for 2. We're going for 2 right now.
So another half the distance to the goal penalty. Put it at the, 3/4 of a yard line?
Go for 2.
Seriously. But now look at where they're spotting the ball. They're spotting the ball at the 3.5-yard line. There's no... They were going to go for it.
Oh.
So all of that was an effort to fake it and go for it. That was why they were so close. Now they false start and give all of those yards that they earned on half the distance penalties back and then some.
I knew something was a little fishy. I was like, look, they're going for it here. But now they're kicking it because I saw him give the kick signal. There's always that special teams coach he's on the side just chilling, and then he'll like do a little slight movement of his foot, point to the ground.
So they'll try one more time here. This time I'll bet they'll set up the kicking block the proper 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage and actually kick the extra point.
I still go for it.
But Cedric Harden with his 5th touchdown pass of the season. As he hits Jarris Nicholson 28 yards for the touchdown. That is a more proper distance behind the line of scrimmage for the kicking block. Again, they get Duncanville offside. Please, for the love of God, decline the penalty and take the extra point and move on from this godforsaken PAT. They do. It's 41-7, and Cedar Hill will kick it off. That was the never-ending PAT.
There's a lot going on right there, a lot to unpack.
4 consecutive times they tried to snap the football on that PAT and could not do it without a penalty flag. 41-7 our score here on Friday Night Football. 11:25 to play in the 4th. It has been all Duncanville tonight, the number 4 team in the state. Showing why this evening, with Jarris Nicholson on the receiving end there from Cedric Harden. And Cedar Hill on the board for the first time since their game against Waxahachie 2 weeks ago. Again, that helps. If you're Carlos Lynn, you can use that now. Because, and maybe this is the biggest point that he can make, that is success from your passing game. And that is something that has been fleeting this year for Cedar Hill. He can use that and start to build a little bit of positive energy within his football team.
Yeah, something you got to, in losses like this, you have to find something to take away and be like, all right, this is what we need to do going forward. Mm-hmm. And this is what we need not to do going forward as well.
Yeah. Do join us on the WFAA News at 10. Coming up in about a half an hour, we'll have high school game night as part of the 10 o'clock news. We'll have highlights from this game. We'll also have highlights from Joe Trahan's game tonight, Lovejoy and Frisco. And we'll also check in with Jonah Javad, who's at Woodrow Wilson and Lancaster tonight. Pop-up kick fielded at midfield by Demarion Coleman across the 40-yard line. Flag down as he continued to drag his way into Cedar Hill territory.
Now, here comes a sloppy play from Duncanville. Several flags in the last drive. 5 flags on the field or the PATA camp. Got a block in the back right here.
That's going to bring that good return from Coleman back into their own territory.
I know they're up 30-plus points right now, but still. No need to get chewed out.
In talking with Reginald Samples, Duncanville's head coach, earlier this week, one of the big things that he was encouraged about is that they are starting to get healthy. They are a football team that obviously has a wealth of talent. But for example, Amari Abor, who may be the best player on this football team, missed 4 straight weeks. He was out from the South Oak Cliff game through last week against Waxahachie as Caden Durham with a lot of running room across midfield. Durham cuts back inside the 30. He's got one man to beat and finally run out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Caden Durham with a big carry.
That's some really impressive running right there. He really utilized his blocks, got everything set up, and the rest was all on him.
A 54-yard carry for Caden Durham down to the 13-yard line in Cedar Hill territory, and Duncanville says, yeah, we're not done yet. Durham again, the sophomore. This is a dangerous and deep and talented running backs room for the Duncanville Panthers. We've talked about Malachi Medlock and what he's done, not just tonight, but throughout the season. Caden Durham, just a sophomore, is kind of the lightning to Medlock's thunder. Then you've got Javen Square, who just came on the football field. He's a nice runner of the football as well. And Caleb Kenny, a big body for short yardage situations. The Panthers can move some bodies with their offensive line, and they can move the football with the ground game. Willis, pressure, lots of trouble. Finally strung out and taken down at the 19. That's going to go down as a 6-yard loss on the play.
There's some guys in there that usually don't get reps, and it's good to see them fly around, let their coaches know, like, hey, I can play the position just as well as a starter can.
I'm very curious to see what the future holds for this Duncanville team here in 2021. Because they have got, as we alluded to earlier, a defense that is tremendous. Rangy, fast, physical, big up front. It's a very good defense. And with players like Javen Square, they can run the football, and Square leaps into the end zone. Another touchdown for the Panthers.
Yeah, this running back room is really good. A lot of talent, a lot of different types of running styles. You got the downhill runners, you got the slashers, you got guys who can do both.
A 19-yard touchdown run from Javen Square, the junior, his 4th touchdown of the year. And Duncanville looking for point number 48 after 52 a week ago against Waxahachie. Trying to make it an even 100 in 2 weeks of play. And they do. Benitez is good, and it's 48-7 Panthers.
Looks like Malachi Medlock won't hit the 1,000-yard mark just tonight, sadly.
He needed 208 yards coming into this football game. I think Malachi Medlock's night is done, by the way. See if we can get an update on the stat sheet here. Looks like a 12-carry, 97-yard, 1-touchdown night for Malachi Medlock. That's enough to put him approaching 900 yards on the year. As Reginald Samples looks on and his football team holding a 41-point lead here in the first football game ever played here at Globe Life Field in Arlington.
Do you have the scores from the other district games pulled up?
Let's see what we can find. Duncanville set to kick it away. Benitez to send it deep. Lovejoy and Frisco, one of the big games around the area tonight. Lovejoy with a 38-15 win. Joe Trahan will have highlights from that game tonight on the WFAA News at 10, just about 25 minutes from now. As Keontae Reinhardt fights his way back to the 15-yard line, even in the kicking game, finding any inch is tough sledding tonight for the Cedar Hill Longhorns. We mentioned Prosper, a good football team that will spotlight a week from today here on Friday Night Football against the Allen Eagles. 38-17 winners tonight against Denton Braswell. That's a big win for them in the district standings, moves them to 3rd in District 5-6A, nipping at the heels of Allen and Denton Guyer in those district standings. So that makes next week's football game between Allen and Prosper a little bit bigger.
Different look out of Cedar Hill right now.
Throw over the middle, incomplete, intended for Reinhardt.
I've noticed when they have Anthony Edwards in, the packages have been completely different. A lot of different looks in the passing game with him in there.
Elsewhere around the district, and I know this is the game that you're looking for, trying to figure out how your Mansfield Tigers are doing. Still going on. They are in the fourth quarter. It looks like about 8.5 minutes left in the fourth between Mansfield and Waxahachie. Waxahachie with a 28-19 lead on the Mansfield Tigers, so a 2-score lead in the fourth. Looking deep downfield and then just has to throw that football away. Does Anthony Edwards. If Waxahachie wins that football game, now they've put themselves in position to probably be that fourth playoff team out of this district. That would make them the 2 seed out of this district in 6A D2. Cedar Hill likely the 1 seed in 6A D2. DeSoto and Duncanville, of course, the D1 playoff teams out of 11 6A.
So this district can get a little bit funky towards the end if somehow if Mansfield doesn't pull out
Mansfield
tonight.
could beat Cedar Hill, now it gets a little topsy-turvy. We'll see how that
points and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now you get into tiebreakers and it's a mess. Harden looking deep up the seam, but nobody there as Joshua Manley slowed down on his route. I don't know if he knew the football was heading in his direction. And it's 4th down.
They just went back to the normal drop-back passing again, and that hasn't worked for them tonight. The only thing that's really worked for them is quick passes. They tried to set up one earlier, but I think that was Jalen Jenkins fell down in the route. Tried to set up a screen earlier, didn't work. It's just straight-up drop-back passes. I don't think that's where Cedar Hill is going to get their success.
That leads to yet another punt. Flags prior to the snap. So Jacoby Clayton hit with the false start penalty. They'll walk the ball back to the 10, 4th and 15 before they punt it away. Sean Sipes, the Cedar Hill punter, has been busy tonight.
See if we can get a good kick out of this one.
Wobbling kick will land at the 30 and roll to the 37-yard line, a 27-yard punt. And again, great field position for the Duncanville Panthers as their reserves make their way back out on the football field here with a 41-point lead. Globe Life Field, our site tonight, a beautiful venue, and I'll tell you what, it looks pretty good for football.
It does.
This is where they'll play the Commanders Classic 2 weeks from tomorrow, Army and Air Force. And I don't know this yet, but it is a suspicion of mine that they may leave this setup in place for a little while. I would love to see some playoff football games taking place here at Globe Life Field. Now you've got 3 venues within a stone's throw of each other. Globe Life Park, which is now Choctaw Stadium, here at Globe Life Field, and of course AT&T Stadium, all within about a mile of each other, not even. And you can have 3 competing high school football playoff games happening right in this very tight radius. That would be kind of cool. You could hopscotch around if you wanted to and see some really good. That's what they sell, like an all-access pass, and you can just hopscotch to all 3 games. Pass. That would be pretty cool.
Like a season pass to the playoff games.
Why not?
But that sounds really good. The only thing I'm thinking about is the traffic leaving. Oh my goodness. Traffic around here is not fun.
Yeah, tell you what, do staggered starts.
Yep,
have a 6:30, a 7, and a 7:30 start so the traffic isn't quite as obnoxious trying to get out. Caleb Kenny now getting his opportunity to carry the football a little bit here in the 4th quarter. One of the interesting quirks of this stadium that I think is kind of cool, you see the 329 up the left field line right there in the corner, 334 right next to it, 410 up the far sideline in like the power alley. The distances that they picked here at Globe Life Field have significance. That 329 up the left field line honors number 29 Adrian Beltre. The 334 honors number 34 Nolan Ryan. The 372 in one of the power alleys is to honor the 1972 Texas Rangers, the first baseball team ever here at Globe Life, here in Arlington. It wasn't Globe Life Field back then. It was Arlington Stadium, and even before that. But 1972, the first team ever here in Arlington. The 410, as we zoom in on that 410, that's to honor number 10, Michael Young. The 407, just to its right, we're near the ambulance you see there, that is to honor Pudge Rodriguez, who wore number 7. They did this very strategically, and I think it's kind of a cool way to pay homage. They've got a 374 to pay honor to the 74 Rangers, the first winning team here in Arlington. And then 326 up the right field line is for Johnny Oates, number 26. And then the last one, and this one's a little bit harder to see. There's no signage necessarily for this, but they have 42 feet between home plate and the backstop, and that's the one final retired number that they try to honor, and that's number 42, Jackie Robinson. So very strategic with how they set up Globe Life Field.
Yeah, I think it's always cool going to a baseball stadium compared to a football, because at football stadium, you know what you're going to get. Every field is going to be the same. 110 yards, 100 yards long, not counting end zones, 53.5 yards wide.
Yeah.
You get to a baseball stadium,
who knows?
Completely different. Yeah, who knows what you're going to get on the field.
Yeah, there aren't really ground rules in football. The rules are the same everywhere you go. You go to a baseball stadium, you have to kind of ask, all right, so what are the rules here? How does this work? Fenway Park in Boston, a perfect example. Okay, well, what counts as what in different circumstances with the different nooks and crannies of a ballpark? And they did an interesting thing with the nooks and crannies here at Globe Life Field by making them have some significance. Third down screen pass on the outside goes for a loss of yards, and it'll be 4th down and about 8 for the Duncanville offense. And it looks like they'll bring Armando Benitez out once again to try a field goal for the 4th time today. He's 2 for 3 on the day. Hit from 35, hit from 36, missed from 41. And now there is a player down on the far sideline, and that's a Cedar Hill Longhorn. This is a team that has been banged up all season long. That's the last thing an already injured Longhorns team needs. That's Cavante Johnson, the senior, that is being tended to on that Duncanville sideline. They're going to look at his right leg, it looks like. Mark McGill, Julie Torrey, the trainers for Cedar Hill. This has just been a nightmare of a season for the Longhorns. Kylan Ashton, one of their best players on the offensive side of the ball, number 1, out tonight, was wearing a boot earlier this evening. He's been in and out of that boot. He's actually not wearing it at the moment. It's sitting to his left on the near sideline. But there have been multiple key pieces of this Longhorns football team that have been injured. Then you take into consideration a kid, Xavier Brown, that was supposed to be one of their best players in the passing game, number 18, is sitting on the bench right next to Kylan Ashton, not wearing shoulder pads, because he was ruled ineligible by the UIL. He was a transfer, and they did not grant his transfer, did not make him eligible for this season. They've just had a lot of key pieces not able to be on the football field for one reason or another, and now Cavante Johnson, it appears, is going to be added to that list, at least for the short term, and it's never a good sign when you're being carried off like that. So we'll certainly keep Cavante Johnson in our thoughts. It's always a tough thing to see, especially for a young man who is a senior. And you can't help but wonder, did this poor kid just see his high school football career end on that play? Hopefully it's not as severe as it looks right here, but no weight being put on that right leg right now as he's helped off. (48-7) our score. 6:38 to play in the 4th quarter. The Duncanville Panthers, out of the injury timeout, lining up a 38-yard field goal attempt here for Armando Benitez. Again, good from 35 and 36, missed from 41 on the left hash going in the other direction. Now from 38. And he puts it through. And Duncanville with a 50-burger tonight, 51-7.
Yeah, that other miss he had was a fluke. I think that one, it might have been tipped or he slipped or something, but.
Yeah, the other kicks have looked great.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you just catch it poorly. That's certainly a possibility as well. But with 6:31 to play here in the fourth, 51-7, Duncanville with the lead. Next week on Friday Night Football, we head to Prosper. A key game in District 5-6A, and it just became even more important with Prosper's win tonight over Denton-Braswell. So now Prosper jumps Braswell in those district standings, right nipping on the heels of Allen and Geyer, two teams ranked in the top 25 in the state in 6A. And they've got Allen on their home field next week. And we'll bring that game to you right here on the WFAA Digital Network, YouTube Live, and on the WFAA app via Roku and Amazon Fire TV. (35-19) now the score update in the fourth quarter between Mansfield and Waxahachie. So it looks like the Indians are about to take down your Tigers and jump in the 11-6A district standings. They'll move to 3-2. Cedar Hill beat Waxahachie 2 weeks ago, so they've got the tiebreaker there. So it seems anyway, and certainly Mansfield will have something to say about it in the final week of the regular season against this Cedar Hill team as Reinhardt takes it to the near sideline, run out of bounds at the 22. It would seem, though, that the playoffs are starting to take shape in this district. Duncanville, now I think we can say with a good deal of confidence, they will run perfect through district play, go 7-0, and be the number 1 seed in 6A Division 1. DeSoto will be the number 2 seed in 6A D1. Cedar Hill, it looks like, will be the number 1 seed in 6A D2, and Waxahachie looking like that fourth and final playoff team, the number 2 seed in 6A Division 2 out of 11-6A, with 2 weeks left to play here in the regular season. 1st and 10 from the 23 is where they mark it. And a carry here for Cedar Hill is Zachary Porter. Picks up 6 on the first play of the series. Depending on how quickly this game ends, we may join the WFAA News at 10 in progress here on Friday Night Football. We'll see whether or not the final 6 minutes of this football game happen before we hit the air at about 10:15. If we do, you'll see us join that broadcast live. If not, we'll have highlights at 10:15. Hand off again to Porter, trying to get to the outside. And just the pursuit of this Duncanville defense, even here in the fourth quarter of a 44-point game with their reserves on the field, they scrape across the top and get to the football extremely well.
Yeah, there was 9 guys by the ball right there at the end of the play. Nine guys.
This Duncanville defense, you got Amari Abor, 5-star prospect. Quincy Wright, 3-star prospect. Colin Simmons, 4-star prospect. That's just on the defensive line. Jordan Crook, Arkansas commit, 3-star prospect. Pierre Goree, SMU commit, 3-star prospect. Keontae Williams has 4 different scholarship offers. Kadavian Dotson Walker, one of their safeties, has 5 scholarship offers. That's just the kids that we know are going to play Division I football. Demarion Coleman, heck of an athlete. I think that's on the table for him. Alex January, just a sophomore and 6'4", 270. I think Division I football's on the table as a possibility for him. I'm not sure there's anybody in the starting lineup for the Duncanville Panthers who isn't a Division I player in the future. Lamadrick Spencer, at this point, not a heavily recruited player. He's got a pick 6 in both games we've done for the Duncanville Panthers this year. Their defense is frightening. And this defense is going to carry them into December.
They have to.
And it will be, the only real question is, can their offense take them into late December? This is a team that's going to be in the regional finals. I mean, Spring Westfield's really good, and that's a very possible regional semifinal for Duncanville. I would pay to be at that game, and I don't have to pay to be at games. It's one of the perks of my job. I don't pay to be at sporting events. I would pay to see Duncanville Spring Westfield. I would pay to see Duncanville Rockwall Heath, a likely regional final. You're saying don't catch that?
I said, what a punt.
Oh. Sean Sipes has been busy today, but that may be his best one.
That was.
And a smart decision from DeCorian Moore, the sophomore, or it should be the freshman, to forego trying to fair catch that football. That was like a pop-up into shallow left field.
Yeah.
It's precisely what that was. 3:48 to play here in a football game that has been a Duncanville domination. Cedar Hill with 2 timeouts left. I don't imagine they're going to be using them to try and extend this football game.
I wouldn't.
You would?
I wouldn't. I'm taking those home with me.
Exactly, yeah. Especially after we just saw one of their key players, Cavante Johnson, go off with an injury. If you're Carlos Lynn, right now the focus is get out of here without anybody else getting hurt.
Yep.
They've had enough of that this year. This is a Cedar Hill football team that should have been better than what we've seen these last 2 weeks. And I think they still have the potential to be better going forward into the playoffs in 6A D2. But the injuries to Kyle and Ashton, the situation with Xavier Brown, the wide receiver, now the injury to Jacoby Clayton. They've had injuries on their, to Cavante Johnson. They've had major injuries to their offensive line. It has been a nightmarish season for Carlos Lynn and company a year after getting to the state championship game. Nice carry there by Javen Square to get close to first down yardage. It'll be 3rd down and a yard. But for Duncanville, man, the future is extremely bright for this football team. We do appreciate you guys being with us tonight on the WFAA YouTube channel. Still over 1,000 of you with us right now as this game gets close to wrapping up. Under 2.5 to play, and that's a first down carry for Javen Square. Beg your pardon, that's Caleb Kenny, the junior, getting the carry. Kenny, 6 foot, 200 pounds, more of a short yardage back for him, and he executes in exactly that situation on 3rd and 1. Two weeks from tomorrow, the Commanders Classic here at Globe Life Field. Army and Air Force in the first college football game here at Globe Life Field. Whistles at the snap. That will be a false start against the Duncanville offense, and will momentarily stop the clock at 1:43. I think just for the sake of getting on the air at 10:15 as part of the 10 o'clock news, we may make postgame pretty quick tonight, Julius Lewis. Your thoughts going forward, though, for these two football teams? Where do they go from here? What do they need to do to achieve their ultimate goals?
All right, I'm going to start with Duncanville. Defense, keep doing what you're doing, playing hard, rallying to the football. That's going to bring your team, that's going to bring your team and the crowd energy. Bring everybody energy.
Nice run here by Javen Square, cutting back and into Cedar Hill territory. 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Javen Square, I mean, again, just back after back after back that Duncanville can throw at you.
That's the next thing I was going to say. For their offense, keep leaning on this run game until somebody stops you.
Yeah.
And then for Cedar Hill, you saw what worked for them. Getting out of the pocket, quick passes, screen passes. Because their O-line is injured, like you said. So they can't take all that pressure right now. So make it easier on all of your guys. Don't have them block as long. And their defense, you just got to try to get better where you can. Even if you're put in a tough position, you still have to force field goals. And they were able to do that for a couple drives tonight.
And they did find a little bit in the passing game as up the left sideline for the touchdown goes Jameer Willis. One final nail in the coffin for the Duncanville Panthers. It's 57-7.
Just faster than everybody.
A 38-yard touchdown run from Willis.
Just got to the edge and just showed what true speed looked like.
These kids from Duncanville will remember this night very fondly.
Oh, yeah.
They opened up Globe Life Field as a football venue in style, 58-7, with 28 seconds to play in this one. A dominant performance.
I told you before the game it was going to be there's going to be a lot of fast guys out here, a lot of long runs. The turf.
You did say to me before the game, this is the best turf you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
They did a really, really nice job spinning up Globe Life Field as a football venue. The mound here, if you're wondering where that is, the mound is removable here at Globe Life Field. They can take it out altogether. In fact, you can climb down inside of it. There's an open cavity below the mound. I remember the first time we were ever here, myself and Jose Gant, one of our photographers in the WFAA sports department, a legend, by the way, in the WFAA sports department. He's been working at WFAA since 1980. He and Arnold Payne have been here for 41 years almost. It'll be 41 years in November. Jose and I were here doing a live shot, and we're getting ready for whatever sportscast we were going to be doing. And all of a sudden, we see one of the crewmen for Globe Life Field open up the mound and step down inside of it. And we're like, what in the world is going on?
It's a secret hatch.
Welcome to brand new baseball venues. These are the things that they can do. So they took up the mound, got rid of it altogether, completely covered the baseball field with a gray. As a matter of fact, if we take a wider shot, the gray that you see at the very top of your frame, that planking is covering the entire baseball field, and then they laid out this football field over top of this.
You know what's under the mound, right? Uh-oh, is there a fumble?
Flags here. They're saying he was down. 19 seconds left in this football game, and it just won't end.
But yeah, you know what's under there, right?
What's that?
Jerry Jones' secret lair.
Jerry, can you hear us?
He's got tunnels all under all these stadiums.
Unsportsmanlike conduct will go against Cedar Hill. 19 seconds left in this one, and let's hope there's only one snap left. I say that more than anything because it's an awful lot easier if I can turn around and do a normal live shot on the WFAA News at 10 here in about 2 minutes' time. We'll see if that pans out.
Also, I want to add, if you're Cedar Hill, you got to find some leadership. That doesn't come from the coaches.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that feels like it's a void for them right now?
Yeah. Just looking around the sidelines. I'm not saying they don't have leaders, but someone's got to step up.
Nice run here on what will probably be the final play of the football game. A first down carry for the Longhorns. That'll stop the clock momentarily, but a 58-7 win for the Duncanville Panthers, opening up Globe Life Field in style, and they stay perfect in district play. Duncanville improves to 5-0 in district, as you saw there momentarily. A very impressive performance tonight. Reginald Samples now with 305 wins in his career. A hug for Carlos Lynn, and a very impressive win for the Panthers. 58-7, the final score. Join us next week on Friday Night Football as we head to Prosper. 10th-ranked Allen visits Prosper in a key late-season clash in district play. For our entire Friday Night Football crew, Director Clay Marshall, photographers Dwayne Watkins, Marcos Garcia, and Jeremy Taub, digital coordinators Nick Blackhall and Alex Cruz back in house, Julius Lewis alongside, I'm Mike Leslie. So long from Arlington, where the final score one last time is 58-7, Duncanville with the win. All our Friday Night Football broadcasts stream live and are archived in perpetuity on the WFAA YouTube channel. This has been a presentation of WFAA TV.